In this video, I want to talk about the things that have really got me down, the things I've really struggled with over the last 12 months. I want you to cast your minds back now 24 months as we came to the end of coronavirus. COVID, as a business owner, was brilliant for me. The government was very pro-business. There was lots of cash around. Consumers had plenty of cash to spend, and therefore businesses were going like gangbusters. But for the last 12 months, things have been far more challenging. We've got record high interest rates. Now, let me tell you this. I borrow money. I'm an entrepreneur. I love borrowing money to invest into businesses to grow my organisations. So I owe millions of pounds, and I always have done. Most of my money is in commercial property, and usually the property that we operate from, like this hotel, for example, or our roller skating rink. And owning those properties with those big mortgages was brilliant when interest rates were close to 0%. But now, as we stand here today, interest rates are at a base rate of 4.75%, and the bank wants to make their margin on top. And so you could have 7.5%, 8.5%, 9% interest rates. And when you was used to close to zero and therefore paying a margin of 2%, that can make a big difference. So my interest rates bills have gone up by circa £50,000 per calendar month. I'm servicing the capital, so things are improving over time, but that's a hard pill to swallow when just 24 months ago, that interest rate bill was closer to £12,000. So what have I done about it? Well, I've had to work harder. I've had to do more with less, which is usually the skill set of entrepreneurs. But I was treated to all the cake I can eat it during coronavirus because things were much easier. Over the last 12 months, I've been brought down to reality, and I've had to face difficult decisions to keep my business in the game. And I know that's true for many business owners. For me in my business, 5 key points hit hard. Inflation. Inflation was super high. And whilst everyone tells us in the financial press and the Bank of England that inflation has come down, it does take 18 to 24 months to hit the end of the market, to hit consumers. Utility costs are still horrifically high. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were nothing like they are today. So you've got them high interest rates, you've got inflation biting, you've got higher interest rates, and consumers having less money to spend. Of course, that's going to affect your business. And that's why we've got to learn to do more with less. Let's talk about labour costs. This has really hurt businesses. Wage growth has surpassed anything I've known in my 20-year career in business. And whilst everyone wants to be fair payers and pay their staff well, you've got to be able to afford it. The business needs to be profitable. When you've got inflation hitting, when you've got utility costs hitting, when you've got interest rates hitting, and then you've got higher wage growth hitting, it becomes a very stressful, sleepless night situation for business owners. Now, for me, I've got to find £1 million every single month to pay all my people. Whether you're only finding £20,000 or £10,000 to pay your wages each and every single month, it is a big stress on the business owner, and I absolutely get it. And you've got to keep growing, you've got to keep innovating, because a lot of people say, well, James, you don't borrow the money, don't invest in your business, take a period of consolidation, but the market is constantly innovating. And if you don't innovate, you end up evaporating. If you don't innovate, you evaporate. So if I don't invest in my attractions, customers stop coming. So you're in this vicious circle where you must invest, you must innovate. You've got all these overheads. How do you do it? Well, you look for scale. Obviously, that's what lots of entrepreneurs do. They look for economies of scale, or they reverse back into comfort and make a smaller business. Anyone who watches my channel that's interested in business and entrepreneurship, they ain't scaling back. They want to go forward. They want to do more. They want to have ambition. And I want those people in our country to grow the UK economy. But do you know what I've concluded from the last 12 months compared to trading in COVID when everything was so much easier? Certainly towards the end of COVID and people were still having lots of cash in the bank and spending it in the economy, that this pain is needed. It's a really good exercise for entrepreneurs and business owners, because if you can streamline efficiencies, you become a much stronger business for it. And it's very true. The more billionaires and millionaires are created in economic downturns and upturns because people retreat, they contract, And so if you are one of the rare few that think bigger, think better, find efficiencies, think entrepreneurially, there is a bag of opportunities for you out there. And we've had a big budget in this country where the government have imploded on us, £40 billion worth of tax rises. And those tax rises are coming from businesses mainly. And so businesses are starting to retreat, but there are a few golden nuggets out there. Let's look at commercial properties, something that I'm really interested in. Funnily enough, over the last few months, I've seen an explosion of commercial properties available on the market to buy that are going online. If you go back 24 months ago, they wouldn't have even reached the internet. People would have done it direct to vendor, or agents would have said, oh, I know exactly the right person that would like to buy that from you. And so we don't need to mass market it. And there was bidding wars going on. So actually more property, more businesses, more opportunities are coming to market. And so if you are ambitious and you have positive cash flow and you know how to market and make money, this could be the golden opportunity for you, as governments are making it harder and harder for tired business owners that haven't got effort, energy and enthusiasm to go in and keep going, say, I've had enough. I'm doing my deals. I want to get out of this thing. And I am seeing that happen right now. So that's one pro. So I'm going to grow my way out of the problem. I've got to grow my profits to pay for all these new overheads. I've done a rough calculation. If I kept my business as it is in the next 12 months, because of these new government turnover taxes, I've got to find another £2 million a year just to stand still. And I'm hoping the interest rates still trickle down so that savings there I can give to the government. But I don't want to just accept that's the way it is. So we've got to go into this process of working harder and smarter for the next couple of years as things start to improve. And usually with these economic downturns, these disruptions, it's an 18-month journey and things do get better. I mean, go back over the last 300 years of history. If you can just stay at it for 18 months, you seem to get through. Look, if you're an entrepreneur, that's the curse that you've been given. You've been given the gift of a problem solver, and you either have to solve more problems, which might be exhausting, but that's exactly what we do. How can we do it? Well, we've got to be good at marketing, because if more people know about our business, there's more leads that we can get into our business. And with more leads, you usually get more revenue, and then more revenue, more profitability. And actually, if you can explode your business with leads, you're never tempted to discount. You're never tempted to do stuff that's a grab for turnover. And that's what we're starting to see businesses do. They will do things, anything, to get some revenue into their business. But actually, if you've got, 4 service divisions or 4 products to sell, and 500 people want to buy your 4 products or your 4 services, and you're oversubscribed, you'll never be tempted to discount, and therefore protect your margin and possibly even put your prices up, thus making more profit. Now, the best marketing is lead response marketing, or I like to call it direct response marketing. We're not doing brand marketing. We're not bleeding Coca-Cola or Louis Vuitton or some perfume company. We want to do direct response marketing so we can work out our return on investment for the pounds that we're putting into our marketing. Look for the old school stuff. I've wrote a book called Getting Customers Easier, Faster and for Less Money Than You Ever Thought Possible, and I filled that with some great ideas. And I've made loads of videos here on the YouTube channel. You don't need to spend loads of money to get your marketing going. You need to work out how to do direct response marketing. Type that into Google, research it, spend a couple of days on it, maybe even go to seminars on it, and you'll learn that you can get brilliant return on investment for your efforts. There's 2 things that I think could really help you get more leads into your business. Making sure you've got an active database. Collect emails, use text messages, and send letters in the post. They're my 3 go-to things that you can do for pence and get huge returns. I mean, I've sent emails that have made me tens of thousands of pounds. I've sent letters in the post to the right people that have generated me hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of revenue for my businesses. Emails, text messages, snail mail, and picking up the phone. Make sure you're spending a lot of time on that, and I think you'll find you get huge returns. There's actually one other little thing that I think is really powerful in the marketing landscape, and that's the power of a well-crafted newsletter. I write a newsletter for my audience, and you can get access to it. It's completely free. It's called the James Sinclair Letter. I release it every Monday morning at 7 o'clock. You might not want to make videos like me or a podcast, but could you write a really good newsletter that gives tremendous value to your audience? Whether you're an air conditioning business and you're writing about trends in the air conditioning business, whether you're doing solar and you're writing about trends on that, you're selling cookery stuff and you're giving out recipes, all your thoughts as a thought leader within your industry, put that into a newsletter, write it really well, spend some time on it, and then you can repurpose that and turn that into articles in the future, giving you real industry expertise. I think building a personal brand in business around the sector that your business works in is a very powerful thing to do. It's made me millions of pounds worth of opportunities, helped me with recruitment, getting customers, building notoriety and all of that. But that takes time. I get making videos isn't for everyone, but the newsletter could be a first dip in the toe, and actually maybe more powerful than videos and podcasts, because if people are reading your stuff, they're probably very loyal to your stuff. But you can't expect to get £1 million worth of work on your first newsletter. Once you've done 100, send me drop me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I'm sure you'll go, James, that newsletter's really worked, because the consistency does pay off. So the government have made some big changes to the political landscape for businesses and their cash flow from April next year. We've got to be aware of that. It's seismic. The difference is huge. What are we going to do about it? Well, I've said we've got to learn to do more with less. And I've got some 6 key points that I want you to think about as you go into the new year that might make your business stronger and more resilient. So let's look at the first one. Invest in positive cash flow cycles. And one of my favorite businesses in the world is Costco. And I actually made a video here on YouTube on the business model of Costco. And I urge you to go and check that out, because you'll understand that Costco has such great cash flow. They have reduced the amount of lines they have in a store, maybe 3,500 SKUs, compared to an Asda or a Sainsbury's or a big Walmart, 100,000 plus SKUs. Because they have less SKUs, they turn their stock much faster, and actually they turn them before they have to pay for the stock, thus giving them a positive cash flow cycle. They actually turn their stock around 12.5 times a year. A big supermarket, 8.5 times a year. Now, if you're given 30-day credit terms and you've sold everything before the 30 days, there's no cash flow problem. If you look at most businesses, this is how it works. You buy loads of stock, you buy loads of service, you do the work, and then you give your customers credit to pay for it. Now, I'm looking at businesses where we can reverse that cash flow cycle. So customers pay you in advance, you deliver the service, and then you pay your supplier or your stuff a credit terms 30 days later. If you could find that in your business, that could be really exciting. Let's look at one of my businesses. It's a farm visitor attraction. I've had to spend £1 million on building a dinosaur adventure park, pay out the money, hopefully get more visitors, wait for the cash to come in. But what's better for me is another business that I bought this year, Cafe Deli Wholesale. 80% of our customers pay us up front. We deliver them all their food and beverage stuff for their businesses, and then we pay our suppliers on 30 days. Therefore, the business has a positive cash flow cycle. Look for those opportunities in your entrepreneurial decision-making going forward. If you are delivering services and waiting to get paid, that can cause you negative cash flow, and then you might end up having to borrow money, which is what a lot of banks make money on. They do invoice financing, they do factoring, they do overdrafts. But actually, if you could tilt the business model in your favor that you don't need those things, you become more profitable, more resilient, and more strong. Now, that can't be done with every business. It can't be done with my farm visitor attractions, but it can be done with some businesses. And what I'm trying to do is create an ecosystem where not all of my businesses are waiting for the cash because of investment. If you can mix them all into a nice ecosystem, you might just find your business is more resilient and strong. One of the things that I am going to be doing at my visitor attractions is putting accommodation in. Now, there is some capex up front to put in the accommodation. But after that initial capex, here's where it gets really exciting. If you own a visitor attraction, no one really goes there in January and February, but they are booking holidays in January and February. They pay for their holidays in advance, then 6 months later, you deliver the holiday service, and here's the accommodation. That's a very powerful business model because you're getting loads of cash up front and not waiting for your money. People don't go on holiday and then pay for it 6 months later. That's another example of how we're going to improve our cash flow in our business, getting cash up front. Number 2 is the curse of big contracts. I've got some big customers that we service. I mean, they're massive, massive businesses, billion-pound organisations. What we do as entrepreneurs and business owners, we want to say, oh, look, we're doing some work for Google, or oh, look, we're doing some work for a big supermarket chain. And that's exciting, but it's an ego-based excitement because usually those people pay you 60, 90, 120 days, and they have massive demands on your business. Never forget Harold and Hilda. Make sure that you mix into your ecosystem lots of little independent customers that pay you much quicker and give you cash in advance. Now, this is a different point to point number 1, although similar. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you never want to have one big customer that has dominance over your business so that you're so scared to lose them. And actually, if you do lose them, that could be curtains for your business. We call this customer concentration, and no more than 10% of your revenue should ever come from one entity, one source, one product, or one big customer. It's your job to dilute your big customers so you've got lots and lots of little customers. My favorite saying for business from one of my mentors is this: a little bit of money from a lot of people a lot of the time will serve you well in improving your cash flow and making your business more resilient. Number 3 is dampening down those wretched overheads. That could be utilities. Is it time to put solar on the roof? Is it time to look for technology and software to save on efficiencies in terms of labour costs? All of that's coming. Robotics is going to be huge, and I can see that being a big part of the business landscape over the next 10 years, but actually happening very, very quickly. Can AI save you any money in your business? And it's getting better and better. But actually, what about the premises that your business operates from? Now, I've been a big fan of buying the freeholds of where my businesses operate from. That's a very smart thing to do. Most people think that's out of reach, but actually, I bought my first one when I was in my mid-20s. I didn't have the deposit. I found a way to do that. How did I find a way to do it? I just had the mindset that I'm going to actually get this done. Like running a marathon, I'm going to get that medal at the end. Yes, it's difficult, but actually, many people have done it in the past. Get creative, find creative ways of doing it. And then if you think about this, if you buy the freehold that your business operates out of, over 10 years, it increases in value and you're paying down the capital every single month. And then you've got this nice chunky piece of real estate, which actually builds you super wealth. And you can go and use it to buy other companies by giving the equity and security you've built in it. It just gets better and better. And actually most of my wealth, my security has been built from buying freeholds and finding ways to do it over the last 20 years. The other option is you don't tie up deposit cash and use that cash to go and grow your business. But here's what happens. Every single month you're paying rent, which just goes out the door. You don't get the capital appreciation. But every 5 years, the landlord puts the rent up. So it's a cost that's going up and up. When you've got a mortgage, you're paying down the capital and it gets better and better as each and every single year passes. And then at the end of the lease, you can have a huge dilapidations bill that you have to pay the landlord to put the property back in its original state. I've had a £500,000 dilapidations bill before, so it can be big, big money. So it's far better to find a deposit, get that property over the line. And if you're a good business and you're making profits, the bank will lend you the deposit over 5 years and term the rest out over 20 years. That's a trick I've been playing many, many times. Just get it over the line, gang. It'll make you very strong and resilient. And in economic downturns, having that commercial freehold property around you could be really good. Number 4 is the misses into EE. And this stands for creating multiple revenue streams into your existing empire. In other words, sweating the asset. Now, if you look at my portfolio of businesses, I buy a farm attraction, I put a day nursery there, same rent, same overheads, same maintenance team, same commercial kitchen. Sweating the asset makes your business really stronger. Teddy-tastic, my Make-A-Bear business, we've added other arts and crafts, other revenue streams. We've just bought a roller skating rink and we're using that for seminars and events when it's not being used as a roller skating rink. Looking for opportunities to sweat the asset must be a top priority to make sure that you make more profitability to pay for all these overheads that are coming to knock on your door. Number 5, let's talk about debt. If you've got debt in your business, maybe it's now time to term it out over a longer period of time. And this is an exercise I'm doing in my business. I've got lots of short-term debt that will all be gone in 3 years. But actually, what the smart thing to do is go to a bank and say, look, I've got all this commercial property. I've got a house that I live in. I'll give you security over that, but I want you to take this chunk of debt and spread it over 20 or 25 years, bringing down your loan repayments so that you've got more cash flow around you. Now, if things go like gangbusters, you can just pay it off. But it's far better in economic downturns and uncertainty to get these finance arrangements set up when things are good or in a good position, if you've got a good set of year-end accounts, to give you more cash flow, then have the option to pay it off earlier if you want. That's what big business do so spectacularly well. They're very good at creating lots and lots of cash flow and spreading debt over a period of time, even if they don't need to. And that's a top piece of advice I've got. Lots of people go, no, I want to get rid of the loans. But actually, no, you don't. You want to keep the cash flow around you. And then if you have a big wealth event or you have a gangbusters year and you've got loads and loads of money, then you pay it off. But actually create those comfort blankets around you. And you might be more thankful than you ever thought you would be. Number 6 is look for liquidity events or wealth days. I think it's really important to understand that making money from cash flow or an income or a profitability of a business on an annual basis is really difficult. You're very scared to take the money out of the business in case you want to invest in something else, or maybe you're a proper entrepreneur and you've got cash in your business and you just want to invest and grow to create more cash flow, what I call fast bounce. But actually, what might be the smart thing to do is try and get something ready for sale. Now, to sell a business is an achievement that not many business owners get over the line. I've sold a few things over the years, but I think it's really smart to have big wealth events planned. When you sell a business, it's much more tax efficient than dividends or income in a business. You have a lower rate of capital gains tax at the moment I'm making this video. And what you might be able to do is a little carve out of your business and sell some stuff off and create a big war chest. Because in these economic downturns, there are huge amounts of opportunity as people want to get out and give up. No one really wants to get out and give up when it's really easy and the government are handing out bounce back loans, Sybil's loans and grants. People are spending money like water. They've lost the value of money. And that's pain that we're going through now. Is a little mini reset, making people more aware of what they've got. But lots of people are leaving the marketplace. So have that wealth event, that liquidity day planned, maybe even in 3 years' time, but start getting it in your noggin, start planning for it now, start getting your profitability up, your management team and your security up and your balance sheet so that you look really attractive to sell your business, and then get that liquidity day in and then go again. That's my top tips for you. Hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a bit of a long one, a little dive into my mind. I have had a more challenging year over the last 12 months than I'd like to have had. But look, we move forward into the next year. I still think next year is going to be hugely challenging, but with those challenges do come the opportunities. And you can't be bitter. You've got to be better. You've got to go forward, and that's what we're going to do. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out my newsletter. You can sign up on my website, jamessinclair.net. I think that's the best free thing that you'll get. If you're in entrepreneurship and business, I would say that because I spend hours writing it every single week for your pleasure, your enjoyment, and your wisdom. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.